it's Leanne. So it's been a very long time, but I've been wanting to use my channel for a while, and I thought this would be a great way to start. So as you can see in the title below, I think, today's video is about how I color my brows to match my wigs for cosplay. This is actually my third time trying to film this. The two times before were a couple years ago when I first started getting questions about how I color my brows. It's still the thing that I get asked most consistently about, so I thought maybe it's finally time, it's the new year, it's finally time to try and film it again and hopefully have grown to be a more camera ready person. Hopefully first time is the charm. So this method is pretty affordable, but it's not really meant for someone who is trying to really entirely recreate their brow. I can kind of shift the arch and the flatness of my brow using this method a bit, but if you're really trying to like draw in a whole new eyebrow, like you're trying to go for leaf eyebrows or something, this is not the video or method for you. If you want to do something like that, I would recommend eyebrow wax. Arda is now selling it, I believe, or just the regular glue method. I started using this method because the regular glue method doesn't really work for me. I guess I must be doing it wrong because I see so many people use it and use it so well, but I always just like struggled with it. Maybe I wasn't letting it dry enough in between, and I get like crustiness, if that makes sense, if I like move my brows too much, and I'm a fairly expressive person when I speak. My brows are like all over the place, so it just wasn't really working for me. So this method was just something I kind of discovered back when we were filming Exile, because at that point I invested in Ben Nye's, gosh, I should have memorized this before I started filming, Ben Nye's white cream in LC1 white. So I used this when I was cosplaying Kanaya to cover my face, but when I was doing that, I realized that A, it covers your brows really well, like despite the hairs, and I have pretty thick dark hairs. And the other thing is eyeshadow sticks to it because it's oil based. So for this method, you need some form of white cream makeup. So you can also use NYX's Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. This is actually probably more preferable when it comes to affordability because this one is nearly $9, and this one I think is a little bit cheaper. But I live in Canada, and this brand is not readily available all the time in Canada. It came to Canada maybe a year or two ago, but still kind of hard to find. So this one, I think I actually had to get a friend in the States to give it to me. And then the other thing you need is two brushes. So you'll need a eyeshadow brush, something that's flat but pretty fluffy. So this will pick up the eyeshadow, and this will be this compact brush that you will actually use to put down the white cream. So this is actually this is a paintbrush I think I got from Michael's. And the bristles were a little bit longer, but I just cut it down a little bit so it was super, super compact and stiff. And that's what I use it for. I can't use this for anything else because it's too stiff and it would honestly hurt on any other part of my face, but this is what I use. And finally, you need eyeshadow the color of your wig. So I bought this palette ages ago during one of their Christmas sales, and so it's got a pretty good range of colors. They're all in matte. I would recommend using a matte eyeshadow for this. I've never tried it with a shiny eyeshadow, but I imagine it would look really strange. And while you might not have like the perfect match with every single one, you can pretty much mix and match them. So for this, I mixed these two colors, and I got I think fairly similar shade, and that's usually how I do for the rest of my cosplay. So to begin, you'll want to do your regular makeup routine for cosplay. One thing you can do to begin prepping your brows is patting your foundation over your brows to lighten their color a little bit. I just prefer doing my brows last after I have my wig on because it's inherently easier to match the color of your brows when your wig is right there to compare. So after picking what eyeshadow color you want to use, this is the time to break out that white cream makeup. Using that delicate stiff brush that I mentioned earlier, you'll want to get a tiny amount of product onto the brush and just start working that into the brow itself. This is when the stiffness of the bristles is really important in helping you spread out that thin, creamy consistency evenly and also thinly. This is also when you are laying down the base of the brow shape, so if you're going to arch or you're going for flatter, thicker brows like I am in this video, then this is just time to create the outline and fill it in, so really take your time getting the shape you want. I did my other brow with NYX pencil just to show how they function very similarly with two different products. The only notable difference I've experienced with the Ben Nye is they're a little bit more opaque, so if you want to achieve stark white brows, then the Ben Nye is probably a more reliable base. The nice thing about a NYX though is you can use it directly out of the pencil onto your brow without a brush, and this makes the process a little bit faster on busy con mornings, but you'll still want a small brush to go in for those small sharp details. The main thing you want to keep in mind for both these products is that you want an even and thin base of that white all over your brow, so go back and add layers if you need it. You want to be fairly quick with the eyeshadow after you put on the white cream makeup because you want the stuff to still be a little bit sticky for the eyeshadow to adhere. If you wait a little bit too long, the color won't stick, and you'll have to go in with another layer of cream makeup just to create that tackiness. When you apply the eyeshadow, pat it lightly onto the brow. You don't want to be shifting or disturbing the cream makeup, so light strokes and patting is the best way to work in that color. It might take a little bit of time to build up that color or the shade that you want, so be patient. And the eyeshadow acts as a setting powder for the white cream so it doesn't start shifting out throughout the day. If you see a bit of your brow start peeking through again, don't worry. Go in with your white cream makeup and just layer it up a little bit. It doesn't really hurt. If you mess up and you want to clean up the edges, you can always go in with a Q-tip and clean it up. One thing I did forget to mention earlier is that this method makes it really easy for you to take off your makeup after a long con day. All you need is a makeup wipe that you'd use to take off the rest of your makeup. So if you're like me and you want to get out cosplay and makeup before grabbing dinner, it's super convenient. So now you're done. It's pretty simple. Fix up your wig and go and get ready to grab some cute photos. I hope this has been a good explanation, but if you have any other questions or comments or something you didn't understand, be sure to shoot me a message below. I hope this is helpful. Happy cosplaying, guys, and thanks for watching.